Hello. 21 years ago, I presented the very first edition of Beyond Belief. Do we now know more or less about the beliefs of those around us? And what role might religion play in Britain in the next 2 decades? Sita Suchak is a tutor in religious studies at Eton College. She's also a teacher at the Hindu Academy, which provides online courses in Hindu Dharma.
Hello.
So let's start with that, the loss of faith. The 2001 census was the first to ask people about religion. And it discovered that almost 3/4 of us described ourselves as Christian. Just 15% had no religion. The latest data we have is from the British Social Attitudes Survey last year, and it suggests that over half the population have no religion. Just over a third say they're Christian, and of those, only 1 in 3 is Anglican. Sita, it may surprise our listeners to hear that Hinduism is third in its size behind Christianity and Islam in the religious makeup of the UK, a very substantial presence in Britain today.
Fantastic. That's really reassuring to hear. And I think one of the wonderful things about Hinduism, the central sort of philosophical heart of Hinduism, is this pluralistic approach, because within the fold of the Hindu faith, there are so many sectarian movements and they all sit together in harmony. It's really wonderful that there is such a diversity of different spiritual approaches, not just within Hinduism, but across the world through Christianity, through Islam. And actually what we promote is the idea that they all eventually lead to the same destination.
Gently ask Sita here. I mean, I knew her dad, who taught me what little I know about Hinduism. He was a great man. And I would say that I agree with the pluralist essence at the heart of many great, or all the great faiths. But also, I think we shouldn't shy away from the fact that there are also intolerant and exclusivist interpretations of all our major world faiths, fundamentalist interpretations, which Christina has alluded to as well. And I think some of those challenges we still need to grapple with.
Sita?
Yes, thank you so much. And it's wonderful that you know my dad very well. So yes, I mean, this is the thing, is sometimes when we get too sort of fixated on doctrines and dogmas and all the structures which surround religions, we tend to focus our attention on that rather than on the spiritual heart of all of these wonderful traditions, because throughout history, throughout the world, we've had incredible individuals who have had the most amazing spiritual experiences. And as humanity, we want to try and preserve and protect what these individuals have said. And we create these structures, which is a source of identity. It gives us a sense of purpose. But having said that, then we then focus all our energies on these differences rather than focusing on the heart of all of these religions, which talk about the same divinity.
Sita, I'm going to interrupt you there because it's very easy to pretend that all is wonderful, that we all believe the same things at heart. But the reality is that the last 20 years for religions has been disastrous. In this country, it has exposed the divisions between us. And if you ask the man in the street what he thinks of Muslims, very likely somewhere along the line he will express suspicions of extremism. 9/11 was clearly the jumping off point for Beyond Belief. The idea was that we had a huge degree of religious illiteracy in this country and that people needed to learn about the various religions which make up our country. Do you think we know more or less about religion now than we did 20 years ago? Sita, Hinduism is the exception in this country because, as I understand it, the degree of belief among Hindus has been increasing over the years and there has been no dropping away of young people.
Yes, I think that's the wonderful thing about Hinduism, is that you can think of God as a personality in the sky. And that appealed to previous generations, to our grandparents and great-grandparents. But the other very interesting aspect of Hinduism is that it incorporates the idea of thinking of God not as a person, but as a principle which underpins the whole universe. We get rid of all the sort of philosophical baggage which comes with God as a person, because if God is meant to be all compassionate and all loving, why is there such tremendous suffering happening, not just in the human kingdom, but in the animal kingdom and the whole living kingdom? but with the idea of God as a principle, and we say that every living thing is a spark of divinity on earth, the responsibility lies squarely on our shoulders. If we see an issue in front of us, we are divine, we are the spark of God, and it's our responsibility to do something about it. So I think this non-theistic Hinduism is becoming incredibly popular. We're not so concerned about the tops and tails of religion. Yes, we have all these rituals and we have all this colourful mythology, but you don't need to follow it or believe in it to be a Hindu.
So the last 20 years have been a time of rapid technological advancement. We have touched on the growth of social media. But one consequence of that has been the amplification of hate and fundamentalism online, sowing division. And I want to ask, how can people of faith counter the narrow ways in which religion is used now? And let me come to you first, Sita.
So, I mean, that's the thing with social media. It can be incredibly polarising. And when you put in Google searches for something negative, it will keep offering suggestions for even more negative things. So I think the way that faiths can really counter this is by trying to present material which is inclusive, which talks about the same unity behind all the apparent diversity which is there. So anything which encourages us to mix with our fellow human beings and focusing on the similarity of our human condition. And actually, that's what all religions are trying to do.
We've been discussing change, and religion is going to change radically again in the next 20 years. In one sentence, I'd like to tell me one change that you would like to see within your own faith community. Sita.
So I think the time has come to stop thinking about God as a personality in the sky and to really focus on the living God here and now. And that can really foster beautiful community relationships and real interfaith dialogue.
It has been an enormous pleasure. Thank you for listening for the last 21 years. And from me, goodbye.